Hello, everyone. I'm Candace, and this is an episode I'm doing for Eclectic Coaching with Candace.com. And what I wanted to talk about is kind of a mixture of MBTI or Myers Briggs personality theory and how you can map that onto other constructs like astrology and why I think that that's useful. Um, I think it's really helpful because I think that the MBTI kind of explains how your brain processes information, whereas your astrology is very, very, very personal. Uh, and a quick story on that is I remember one time I ordered a report from an actual astrologer, and I was running late to go take a test for school, and but it was like an hour away. So he called me and he's like, "Well, do you want to just kind of do a sample?" I ran your chart, and he told me all kinds of things about myself and the way I grew up and just so many different things that there's absolutely no way he could have found that online or inferred that kind of in-depth information. And I think it's nice because sometimes I think, especially if you're an INFJ or if you're just a person in general who really wants to do some deep self study, some really in depth self knowledge, or if you want to take your life in a certain direction, or if you feel perplexed as an INFJ about your grand visions and your larger purpose in the world, which many of us feel. Looking at your astrology will give you greater in depth insight into what you need to work on. I kind of think of the MBTI as showing how your brain works and kind of providing like uh, a sort of structure, um, and your astrology into the subtle, nuanced, and very specific aspects of your personality. And they map on quite well. And I love it because the more people who study these topics, the more detailed and nuanced, and the more examples, and the more we can learn in context from other people's stories that really help us flesh out these concepts so that we have more and more information to better understand ourselves and better understand the people in our lives. And then there's this whole synastry astrology, which is mapping your individualized chart, which is based on the exact time that you were born. And this is something I should mention too, and somebody else's. The exact time that you're born is very important. So ask your mom, look at a baby book, look at your baby pictures. I've even done a little bit of deductive reasoning, but you got to be real patient to sift through the information. Um, and take a look at your whole chart. Something else I like to do is I like to look at the free sample charts, look at all the placements, and then go online and just watch video after video after video after video or read article on each individualized thing and pick out all these nuanced specific details. Uh, but something that I found is by looking at my north and south node, which is basically your past karma, is your south, something you're familiar with, something, the information and skills that you've acquired over multiple lifetimes. And then your north node is what you're being called to in this life to really fulfill your destiny. And so it's interesting because my south node is in Sagittarius, which is all about this philosophical study. It's all about traveling and looking at other cultures. And if you don't like what's going on in your day to day, it's like, see you guys later, and I'm going to take off. And what I'm really being called to do in this lifetime in order to fulfill my destiny is to form community and have day to day interactions with people, which I'm kind of resistant to. Um, and to take this philosophical knowledge and apply it, but then also to learn and about practical things and developing a skill set and utilizing that skill set in a way that serves like in a more immediate community. And so that's good for this channel, and that's good for what I'm doing here, because I'm really resistant to the day-to-day thing, whereas I need to form like new skills. And and a lot of times, just like in Myers-Briggs, there's a development process. So sometimes you don't start developing or really diving into your north node until later on in life. And I think that as an INFJ, uh, we don't start to really develop our tertiary function, which is introverted thinking and acquiring vast pieces of information and analytically putting them together, until kind of a little bit later. And so, if you want to better understand your larger purpose as an INFJ, take a look at your astrology and get an individualized report done. And this will, and look at your north and south node. And this will kind of give you an idea of what you need to do and how you need to develop it in order to fulfill your life's purpose. And once you find out that information, just plug it into YouTube or read about it on the internet. There's just so many different articles. And I like to listen to a lot of different people, because I have this philosophy that each person leaves some little nuanced detail out. So if I listen, I have a rule of 6, right? So I'll listen to 6 different um, astrologers or 6 different people on one topic, and I feel like I walk away with a more comprehensive view. Anyway, I hope that that is something useful and specific and constructive that you can do if you're an INFJ to better understand your grand purpose in life. Be sure to like, share, subscribe if you know anyone who might find this helpful, and leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm starting to read them. Kind of freaking me out, but I am starting to read them a little bit, and I will comment when I can and respond to your comments when I can. And it doesn't really matter if you're an INFJ, regardless of what type you are. Understanding your north and south node is a great way to get a look at what you've acquired through all these past lifetimes, if you ascribe to that, or maybe you just think of it as in your early development, or whatever the skills that you kind of come into this experience with. Children come in with specific skills. And your north node is what you're being called to do, and it's going to take some skill to acquire whatever you need that's necessary for that north node, and then fully live your purpose. And your chart is much more nuanced and much more complex, but that's just one aspect of it that gives some clear insight. Thanks, everybody.